everyone, and today I am here to talk about the second day of the draft from today, and we're gonna go over the pick of Brian O'Neill first, 62 overall at the end of the second round. After it felt like every single offensive lineman was going right before him, but O'Neill is by far the most athletic offensive lineman in this class, as he did have a 4.82 40, and he was a former tight end, and that's a lot where this athleticism comes from. But his athleticism makes him a perfect fit in the zone running scheme that Minnesota is trying to have now. And where it really benefits is when he's on poles and he's on screens. And like even back in Pittsburgh, you would occasionally see a pass flipped to him, or he would take a reverse. He would take some handoffs. They threw a screen to him one time. He scored a few touchdowns in his time at Pittsburgh, and he's just very athletic. He's a good guy to have on the edge. You can do a lot with him, and he has lightning quick feet. He has very long arms, and he has the ideal size at 6'7", 297. He is a bit underpowered though, being the former tight end. He doesn't have that much core strength, but give him a few years in the league, that should be beneficial. And I think he really does need to get bigger and stronger in order to become like anything close to an elite tackle, but he has a lot of the traits. I think he's more of a pass blocker than he is a run blocker due to the strength, and you kind of saw it more at the Senior Bowl than anything. Once he got to the Senior Bowl, he kind of got overpowered by people, and it was bad. It was not the best of things. So there was that, and he probably would have been a much higher pick had he not have gotten bowled over a few times at the Senior Bowl. So there is that, and I would think this pick likely means a move inside for Mike Remmers. And even though because of the core strength thing, that might be a real issue, O'Neill might be best to have the redshirt year. I just don't know if Minnesota can afford to not play him his rookie year, because right now we're looking at Mike Remmers being a right tackle or a right guard, or the same thing with Brian O'Neill. And Brian O'Neill has always played a tackle position, and they were flirting around with Mike Remmers playing guard last year. I do think Remmers is a more natural guard than he is a tackle, because if you make his skill set, he has some deficiencies in pass blocking, but he's a really good run blocker and he can move a bit. Sounds like a guard to me. And O'Neill's a little bit of the opposite. He's a pretty good pass blocker. He's got good feet and he's got good length, and he's not bad at pass protection. I don't think I'm more worried about him in run blocking than I am in pass protection. So I would think you put him at right tackle and you put Remmers inside at right guard, and then you have Elflein, Easton, and Reef. And I do think this pick needed to happen though. They needed an offensive lineman pretty badly, because otherwise you have this glaring hole at right guard where it was looking like for now, like if they played a game like yesterday, the problem would have been the right guard is either Tom Compton or Danny Isadora. This fixes that problem entirely. And it really did need to happen, and O'Neill himself could eventually develop into the starting left tackle on Minnesota's roster. Current left tackle is Riley Reef. Now, Remmers and Reef are more of the Band-Aids, kind of, and it's kind of a 3-year cap on them, I think. I think that's pretty much the longest they could go out. The one I can see actually playing the 4th year, or possibly even the last year in his contract, is probably Reef, if he still is performing at left tackle at a pretty solid level. So, but I would imagine Remmers is the one on the shorter lease. He was guaranteed less money. It's a shorter leash with Mike Remmers than it is with Riley Reef. So there is that. And he could eventually become the left tackle for us. So we just got to develop him the right way. We got to get him in the weight room. Got to get the boy stronger, you know what I mean? And my actual grade for this pick, I gave it a B minus, because I think the future can be bright for him. I'm just unsure if it will ever come to fruition, because this could be a Jake Fisher thing all over again, where you like all the athleticism. He's another former tight end. That's why I make this comparison. And Cincinnati has had issues with that. So It's just, is he another Jake Fisher, or can we actually get him to do those things? And he is bigger than Jake Fisher, but I don't know. I would say he is naturally stronger than Jake Fisher as well, but the concern is still there. And let's go over the third round trade that we did. Now the Bucs received the 94th overall selection, so we just traded out of the third round. And Minnesota, we traded that for the 102nd selection, which is the second pick in the fourth round. We at the time did not have a fourth round pick, so that's kind of a big deal in that sense, where that can give us more trade down options or possibly just pick a player at that spot, because Spielman even said that the odds are they were going to draft a player that they could get at that spot anyway. So whether you decide to believe that or not is up to you. And they also got the 180th overall selection, which resides in the sixth round. And if you are counting, that is indeed the fourth sixth round selection. So Spielman's at that again, collecting low round picks because he likes having as many shots as possible. And I will be back tomorrow. And until then, I bid you adieu.